Monday, September 13th, and this is the Solid Waste Advisory Committee meeting. This meeting is a remote meeting, which is being held at the Town Hall here in the Planning Board room, and it is also being offered remotely, so folks at home, if they want to join, can go to the computer at goToMeeting.com/join/236-529-341, and the access code for joining by phone, you can call by phone at 1-224-501-3412, and access code would be 236-529-341. So if there's anybody that wants to join by phone or by computer, that is the information. We also have it posted on the town website. And we do have this meeting being recorded by Cable Access Channel. All right, and if we want to officially start the meeting?
We open the meeting at 6:42, and my name is Lisa Rochford.
And we also have member
Mike Blair.
Wonderful. All right. So the first item on the agenda is committee reorganization. At this time, I would like to let you know it is with sadness that I have news from the chair, Virginia Marchant, has submitted her resignation, sadly. She has some family commitments with a sister that was recently diagnosed with ALS, and she is a primary caregiver. So, understandably, she's going to focus her time where she needs to. But I know this committee means a lot to her. She's been on the committee a long, long time, and I'd like to thank her for all of her years and everything that she has given to the town. I know that she feels very passionately about this, so continuing this work is something that I know will make her happy. So with that, we do have, I didn't have that information previously. We just had the committee reorganization as just one of our new things for the fiscal year. So we will reach out to the selectman's office to try to find another member. So if there's somebody that's interested in joining the solid waste committee, certainly let us know. But we'll look for another member. So right now we have the two. If you would like to wait to see if we get another member, some interest there, and then we can do a reorganization, if that makes sense at that time?
Sure.
That sound okay?
Makes sense to me.
Okay, all right, wonderful. The minutes of 6:29, we'll have to hold those over till the next meeting. I'm sorry.
Can you hold off reorganization if you don't have a chair?
I'm sorry.
Can you hold off reorganization if you don't have a chair?
Oh, okay,
I don't know
so
if
she
you'll-
is our chair, we do need to have, so we do have, you're the vice chair. Yeah, that would be
Until
question for, okay,
you,
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
you wouldn't have a new one come in and take one of the
Yeah.
positions.
so that, Eileen brings up a good point. I think in the interim, what we can do is, with the current members, could essentially reorganize between yourselves. And then once we get a new member added, you know, we can look at it at that time. But I think just the fact that we don't have a chair now officially, I think maybe we need to have, we probably need to look at that and name a chair, at least for this evening.
Okay, I'll be the vice currently if you'd like, and I can do the meeting minutes. Probably not on a computer or a laptop. I can type them and email them in. Is that okay if you save them here at your level?
Actually, we
That's all I have.
Paul is actually doing the minutes.
Oh,
So,
all right.
we switched it up a little bit to make it
Oh,
a little easier.
Awesome, okay.
So, we do have Paula, taking the minutes. I think it's just a matter of,
Yeah.
just for the organization of the meeting, because we now have a chair that has resigned. I think just for the, formality of the meeting, of just having a chair named tonight. We can always look at it afterwards, but do you,
Typically, your new member is gonna be a year before they become an officer on a board, so basically, you guys are gonna reorganize and nominate one of you for vice and one of you for chair, between the two of you.
If the job duties are basically come and participate and vote
that's right.
and do the training, I will do. That's fine.
And,
That's fine. I'll
and you're
do it.
doing, honestly, you're doing all the work that, that we need you to do.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're trying to make it a little easier to have the minutes done. I'm sorry, we don't have the minutes for tonight, but we will have both sets at the next meeting.
Sure.
So you don't have to worry about that, it's just, formally
Someone will
naming.
need to nominate
Right.
you.
So do I just nominate Lisa?
You can.
And I accept the nomination.
Nomination for what?
Chair.
Chair.
Okay. Wonderful.
You can reorganize the rest of the board if you'd like to tonight.
Okay. So we need a formal vote for that though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So, do you accept the nomination?
I accept the nomination.
Okay, beautiful. And, all in favor? Okay, wonderful. And then I'll turn the meeting back over to you, Lisa, and if you want to, I think Lisa, she can do the nomination for the vice chair, right?
Oh, I nominate Mike Blair for vice chair of the solid waste committee.
Accept, thank you for thinking of me.
We all vote.
All
All
in
in
favor?
favor.
Wonderful. All right, so we'll have that at least for the minutes, and then if the town clerk will tell us if we have to do anything else.
But give us our homework.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Ed, for your help. All right, so we have I guess actually a formality also. The town clerk does this usually once a year. She sends out all the information for what members need. So I sent that out to you guys. So I think it's just a matter of the training. And I think it looks like everything else is up to date. So if you do your training, Lisa, I think we're square. All right? All right, no problem. Thank you. Okay, so the solid waste fee schedule, I had sent out the current schedule to you. And we have, on these cards here, we had a whole bunch of these. I sent it out electronically, but this is also for you to kind of follow easily for what our actual fees are, and what we went up for an increase back in 2019. So it's been 2 years, little over 2 years that we have looked at this. And at that time, I think you all remember, we hadn't raised the fees in quite some time. I want to say it was close to 10 years. So in that time, the fees have not really kept up with what the actual costs are. And so looking at that, we did an increase in fees at that time with the understanding that we had to look at it again. And the board gave some great feedback at that time. We knew that multifamilies, the 2, the 3, and the 4 family all had, if we were to look at them as other towns do this, the single family fee, when you do it as a 2-family, a 3-family, or a 4-family, should really reflect what that is. So the single family, if it goes to a 2-family, it should be twice the single family, right? knowing that we hadn't increased the fees in quite some time, we knew that that was going to be a big jump and kind of a heavy load to make such a large increase. So at that time, we talked about it, and part of our discussion then was, let's at least make this first step. Let's get into it and let's see how that works. And what we learned from making that initial fee, and then we also looked at the blue bag fee as well. We knew that there was going to be the chance that some people would switch sizes. So that did happen. Eileen and Colleen handled a lot of those phone calls that had come in. And with the increase in fee, a lot of people realized, okay, you know what? I don't necessarily need the large trash. I'd like to try to go with the smaller trash. And if somebody had overflow of trash, they would buy the blue bags. So we did go through that process, and we do know that there was some movement, and it was good to have that. So we have some good, some good information on how that worked. We are looking at the cost of the fees again, and how this is affecting what the indirect costs are. So indirect costs come through the accountant's office. I have met with, Eileen and I have met with Ed Kasanovich, the CFO, because of all the fees. When somebody is paying for those fees, there's all things that come into play for them. So not only our department has taken over the solid waste, the application and administration of the program, but like when somebody gets a bill, that bill goes out through an electronic system that Eileen and Colleen work together to prepare. It goes down through the treasurer collector's office, it goes to the accountant's office. There's a check and balance for each department. I think we even touched the assessor's office for munis codes and so forth. So there's a lot of departments that have at least a piece of that they take ownership of in order for the whole program to operate. So that is through a calculation of a certain percentage of different considerations. Also part of the fee is actually what we pay in the contract. So we have our hauler that we've been into the first year of the 3-year contract, and the actual cost of the contract has to be fulfilled by what the cost for the fees are. So looking at all of the indirects and the actual direct charges, we need to look at what the fees are and what they're not covering. Through speaking with our the CFO, we have a number of $160,000 that is not covering the cost of what the actual is. Now, that is again through a calculation and consideration for what expenditures and what revenue we have regarding the solid waste operation. As part of that, we take into consideration like what the overflow, the blue bag revenue. We have some revenue that comes in from that, but we also have to pay for the cost of the bags. So typically once a year we do an order of the bags, and we just actually did that recently, and the cost of creating those bags actually has gone up. So I can tell you with the past year and a half with COVID, we have had a huge increase in how much people put out trash in blue bags. So we know that by what we're selling for bags, and then also the revenue coming in, and then also like literally directly, Colleen is out every day running the routes and seeing what's actually happening in the car. So there's a lot of things that come into consideration for those costs. And then also looking at trying to bring those multifamilies more in line to what they should be for the actual cost of a penny. Now, as part of this, Eileen has taken what the actual costs are. The single family trash, I think you can probably imagine, is the one that we have most people signed up for. So single family, then two family, and then the 3 and the 4 family are much lower numbers. So with that, we have come up with some possible,
The start numbers weren't right. I didn't start with, you can just show the scenarios, but they're not the actual.
I just don't have the actual.
Yeah, we don't have, the numbers are not correct, so it's the functional math.
Okay.
I didn't start with the right, numbers.
Okay, so Eileen, are these both the same?
I don't know, but they're not the correct numbers. Check that one.
Like number of
Can I just,
customers?
Nope, the dollar amount from
Oh,
last
okay.
year's budget to this year's
Okay.
budget.
Oh, okay.
are these both the same? And these are both the same?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I just want to give you some possible, this is just, some possible scenarios. All right, so that's one copy, and then this is a copy. Okay, wonderful.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, you can look at that.
That's okay, I'll slide this way, so for, at least on the sheet, what you can see is, if you look all the way on the left, you'll see these numbers over here. Those are the numbers of, like how many we have in that category. So if you see 507, that means 507 customers for the
Okay.
Not you.
small trash selection. Okay, so those people, if you put it across, those people are gonna pay $181 a year. And then if we were to do, say, a $10 increase, it would go up to $191. Because we break it out in a 6-month category, because you get billed twice a year. And this is the possible income that you would get from that. This is what the current is, and that's what the difference, okay? So if you look down, the single family large, we have over 4,000 customers. That's the one that is the most popular. Most people get the largest trash container that you can get, so that's gonna be a 64-gallon cart. And then they have the ability, so with the 64-gallon cart, they get the 96-gallon recycling. But if you were to do the small trash toter, you have the option of getting the small recycling toter, which is the 35-gallon, or the 96, correct?
Yes.
So if somebody wants to, say somebody's not generating a lot of trash, they can have the small cart, but they can get the large recycle. So if they're good, they get a lot of recycling, so that comes out of the trash. So those are the ones that we're going to have the most of. If you go down to 2-family, we have about 240 of those, and then 3-family and 4-family, smaller numbers. So again, we don't have a large number on the multis, but just for purposes of showing you how it works, we have this setup where you can look at what a proposed increase in how much money that would generate. Now, the smaller the number down here for the multis, although they're not paying exactly what they should be, even if you were to bring that up to where they would pay equal to what, say, a single family times 4 would be, that the amount of that revenue is not going to solve all the
Right.
the concerns, but at least it tries to get us closer to closing that gap. So that was one thing that, that we had discussed back when we were looking at increasing fees. We wanted to at least bring that up again, because I think it is a valid point. I don't know if you want to, close that gap again, like completely, or move us closer to it, and then do almost do another step. We don't want to keep going back and raising fees every other year.
Right.
But also recognizing we don't want to also not raise them enough so that we're not covering the cost of what our requirements would be. So this is really kind of to get the process of you to look at where we're at, what our gap is, and then figuring out how to get there in a logical way, Ed has offered to come to a meeting. They actually have a meeting going on right now, so he wasn't able to come to this meeting. But he has offered to come to a meeting to answer questions regarding indirect costs if need be. And also just trying to get a handle on how the system is working. Now that we have had it in our department, and we've gone through a couple of billing cycles, and then also seeing the amount of response needed when we have problems. So we've been fortunate to have Colleen out on the road. We've done billing cycles a couple of times, so we've actually gone through and now have a much better handle on how to administer the program and what's needed. Actually doing the job. The money part of it is part where we have to balance out what the program is costing us, and also like what we're getting for fees. So that is kind of like the baseline. Eileen did a couple of different scenarios just to kind of show you. That's why I wanted to just give you, this is not etched in stone, this is just really for showing you the purpose of how the income from the various costs of the user fees. Last time we did this, we had single family went up $5, single family large went up $25, then two family went up $130, three family and four family we did $150. Those were all in a 1 year span, you know what I mean? So that's the cost of going up for the full year.
Right.
Obviously, we know we had to make some changes. We have done some changes, and we've also, I can tell you, also you kind of, you get into situations where if Colleen is addressing issues at, say, a property, and those lead to other administrative functions, and then we realize one kind of leads onto the other. So as part of knowing what is happening out of the curve, and also looking at our records and how we're signing people up for trash, we get we've updated our records to get more information. So now as people sign up, we actually have a commitment from them that says, yes, we actually want trash. Here's our contact information, here's our phone number, here's our email. We get all that information where we really didn't have that before. So now if there's like a concern or there's an issue at the, or education is needed, we can connect with people. So I try to make it a little bit user friendly and a little bit easier to connect that way. We also are in the process of the rules and regulations. We actually have a good copy now. I had Colleen include a copy in there for you to read over, because I'd like to be able to look at that at a future meeting, because I think we're at the point where we've cleaned up a lot of the things that were outdated. And as we encounter new challenges, we come up with solutions. So we're trying to make that in black and white. So to make it easier for everybody to know what the expectation of the program is and how to operate. We also want to have it identified if people are not paying their bill. Are they allowed to continue in service? So that's happened as well, where we've found that some bills haven't been paid over a period of time. So trying to connect our information with the treasurer and collectors and making sure we have the same information that we're sharing. So we're trying to actually do a lot of improvements that will help the program operate more efficiently, make sure the money is coming into the town to make sure people are paying the service. So it all kind of, like, each layer kind of goes on top of each other. But I want to just step back. This is really kind of meant to have you look at the documents that we've prepared and give you an opportunity to kind of like ask questions, think about it, and then be able to come to, say, the next meeting to kind of look at this. And then if questions come up in between, obviously you can send them to me and we can look at them. But Eileen, I know you spent a lot of time on some of these. Do you want to just kind of explain where you came from and how you set it up?
The number that we need to hit is to make it self-sufficient. So I really backed into it based on comments from 2 years ago, trying to get our multis up to be even with everyone else. We only have 8 3-families, so that number could be large for family. I mean, we only have 8 of them. That number is a large number to get up there, but we have to kind of decide this year, if we don't want to come even with them, what is our steps we want to take to get there? Maybe in percentages, maybe in over the next 3 rate increases. I tried to get our 2-family to be equal to what a single family is. If we start there, we can work on the 3 and 4s, but at the end, we're trying to meet it to make it a self-sufficient system. So I just worked with trying to minimize the small, if you remember from the comments, the small trash totals were a lot of our elderly that wanted small, live alone in a house, and to try to keep that affordable for them. The biggest section is where even just a small increase nets us a lot of money. That's the bulk of the whole program. That's families, larger households, younger people that consume more. So that one, whatever rate we do, if we stay with percentages, we'll probably hit the numbers we need to hit. And then the multis are the most work. Colleen's out all the time correcting the problems that tenants may be doing to the trash because they're not owner-occupied homes. And so, and that's not all. We do definitely do a lot of education with homeowners. However, when there's not an owner on site, the tenants need a lot more education because there's no one. They might come from a different town that accepts something different. They might not know our rules. So she spends a lot of time educating on the multis. Tenants move out, and when they move out, they leave everything. So we really want to get them up to take the burden of what their responsibility is. They're a 3-family and they have 3 large toters for trash, 3 large toters for recycle. We want them to be sharing the bulk of the cost with someone that has 1 large trash toter and 1 large recycle. So that's where we're looking for guidance. Do you want that? It was a step, we took a step in the right direction with larger last time. And we thought we'll bring them up this time, but now we need to revisit it and decide if we don't bring them up, then we would have to bring the small toter and the large single-family toter up a little bit more. So we have to bridge the gap to make it self-sufficient. It's how do you want to go about doing it? And I know it's been a couple of years since we had these conversations, so we just, have what we discussed last time, and to decide if now's the time we want to think about doing that, or, work within the single-family large. That gets us the bulk of the money already. But it's how much we want to increase that to keep it the same percentage versus doing our multis. And if you look, actually now we're at 8 4-families and 26 3-families. The 239 2-families, that's consistent of multifamily, accessory apartments, in-law apartments. So that's pretty much a stable number. It's actually down to 234 the last time we pulled the numbers. That's basically a stable number. All 3 of the multis are stable. So I think before we can move forward to determine the fee for the small and the large for single family, we need to determine what we're going to do for multi.
Yeah, pretty much exactly like you were saying. The first thing I wrote down is a tiered effect, where there's, I don't want to call it discounting, but essentially understanding vacancy in their properties, that they are going to have times where there could be a month, 2 months where they're not picking up one of the units, 2 of the units, whatever it may be. So maybe the 2-family has a 5% discount per, each unit, where a 3 has a 10 and a 4 has a 15, which still brings them up over 800. And that's based off of whatever we come up with for that single family. So that goes up $25 or $30 for the year. Then you take that number, whatever it is, multiply it, subtract that, and kind of come up with that. So it's, some understanding there for their vacancy. It is a business move for them. But again, they still have X amount representative of how much is going to leave. But understanding vacancy, try to give them some leeway on that.
And it is a cost that they include in their rental, right, where a single family has no vacancy, but they have no option for a recoup. And there is another consideration, Mike, if you're going to go along that lines, it is one stop.
Right.
So I totally understand that, and from a business perspective, understand it. And that's really kind of what we want to know. The direction we go in needs to be explained. Right. To the other people, someone that wants to call and say, pre this, why am I paying $189 and my neighbor has 8 toters and they're paying $290, whatever. It's only like $100 difference. So now as we get to more of a spread of a difference, if we're going to discount it, we need something concrete to say, here's what we're using for discount and here's why.
Right, and then it can be used consistently. It will be based off of the single family large, and then once that adjusts, the rest of them, the math will follow. We don't have to rethink multi-units at that point. They're just going to be based off of whatever the structure is.
If you guys decide that you want to have a business discount, if you're looking at the housing and the trash as a business discount.
So one other thing that we do get requests on, and we were considering as part of kind of the whole discussion for fees is offering, like right now, if you have a 2-family, you have to get the large. So we have that. It's actually on all the multis. But the 2-family, we probably, because we have almost 250 of them, we do get calls from people, and it is consistent with what we did when we had the fee change last time around, is if somebody has a 2-family and they're not generating, say, whatever, they've got a single person in the second apartment, and that single person doesn't generate a lot of trash. They don't need two large carts for trash, and two large recycling. We have had, requests regarding, can I get a smaller size? We don't offer it currently at that, in our selection for cost, for, for fees. That has been something that was brought up, to us over the years, and we've kind of had it as, okay, well, we're not really there yet, because we hadn't changed the fees in so long. We were making a major step by increasing the fees, and then we're increasing the bag fees, and so it was kind of a lot going on. So now that we've done that, we're a little bit better equipped to know what's gonna happen, when we increase fees. Obviously, nobody likes to hear that, but we also can't have, the town subsidize, the trash for, not everybody in town gets trash. You have to sign up for trash, you know what I mean? So some people have their own private haulers, can't subsidize the program with people that aren't on the program. So, as part of the discussion over the years, we've kind of talked about it, and I said, I don't know how that would work, because we also have, as part of two families, are they two families that have gone through the process? So have they gone through and gotten a building permit to make sure they're, a two-family that's been signed off and is recognized by the town? I think we're in a much better spot, since we've been in the department, and the department enfolds, building department and health, and we're all under one, inspectional services umbrella. So we kind of have a better, understanding of that as well. So I think the two families that are identified as, through the assessor's office, we have gone through and we've had a lot of kind of, question answers from a lot of them. That was something that we wanted to at least bring to your attention. We could add another layer to, the tier to offer a two-family for a small size. So that might give people another option to say, okay, even though the two-family large is going up, I really don't generate as much trash as, I don't need that large size. Maybe I could go with a small. So that was another kind of discussion point. And I know that we've all kind of talked about it at one point, and we have gotten people call to ask about it. So that's something we wanted to bring to your attention. Eileen could essentially add in another, two-family large, and we have that one there. We could do a two-family small. I don't know if we want to get in.
We'd be looking to make up to about $8,000 if we do that, assuming everyone switched, and you have to, because we're trying to forecast income for next year's budget. So assuming everyone switched to small, which is the only way to do it, I might do 50%, but we'll be looking at about $8,000 to make up. So that's why I said, when it comes in point, if you have a large trash and a large recycle and you're paying X amount of dollars, your whole town doesn't get this, though, only those that sign up. They're looking at it as a residential trash system, not as a business.
Right.
So we really have to make it make sense. We're not in this to provide businesses with trash pickup.
Right.
I would love to see the 4-family and the 3 families go off the system and get, some other type of system that would better suit their tenants than some of the things that we're seeing out there. So it's tricky. So when we're looking at the numbers, we just want to make sure that it's even across the board, and when we explain what their options are, that they make sense.
And then also, so far what we tell people as far as the vacancies and stuff, because when if they have a two-family and one tenant moves out, they want to go to single-family. And we tell them it has to be based off the assessment of the
Yeah.
property, which,
We just would never have enough time, ever, in a day, to be out deciding whose place is rented and who's not.
Right.
So that's something from the very onset of this. If you sign up for trash, whatever your assessment legal is, that's what you are. There's a lot of people in town that may have apartments that aren't on the assessors for whatever reason. They would have, if they want to have a multifamily trash, they'd have to come in and correct that by means of whatever it took to get it legally signed off by the building department, to pull permits that they were required, or to not rent an apartment that's not legal. So that is how we handle the trash across the board.
But to Colleen's point, if we were to offer a two-family, a small size, that might help solve somebody that is maybe not renting that apartment. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's two-family, they don't have anybody in it because whatever, they save it for family that comes once a year or whatever. At least they could have the choice of going with a smaller size. So single, like we offer a single family small, we could do a two-family small. So they're still gonna pay for a two-family price, but it would be another option. So that makes it a little bit like trying to at least give a solution for some of these things that we hear. So I'm sorry we're throwing kind of a lot at you. It's, you know, when we talk about fees, I want you to have enough information to be able to say, okay, you know, yes, we know the multis aren't paying exactly where they should be. We made one step towards that. I think we can make another step towards it. But also recognizing when we're dealing with, you know, something in operation, it's kind of like a trickle-down effect. Something, you know, happening at the curb causes us to look at something else, and then, you know, when did this resident sign up? Oh, okay, we don't have any information of when they signed up. So now, you know, how do you make contact with that person? Yes, we send them a letter, but, you know, have they gotten all the rules and regulations? How do you enforce it? You know what I mean? So there's certain things, and then finding out if somebody hasn't paid a bill in a certain amount of time. You know what I mean? It all kind of ties to every single piece, so trying to, you know, make it so that we're looking at all the right things and making sensible, you know, updates to how it's operating. So I think, you know, what Eileen has explained is the single family customer base is your largest. That's going to be the biggest difference when you make that's going to bring in an amount of money that is going to be higher than any of the other changes. But I think that if we were open to hearing how you would like to structure it, and again, you don't have to make any decisions tonight, but at least if you're comfortable with us, you know, presenting something like this, you know, kind of in a clear manner. First of all, are you okay with how this is presented? Easy to follow?
Totally
Yeah.
easy. Yeah,
Okay.
I like it. I like it a lot, actually. It's simple.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you feel about adding an option for two-family small carts?
I like that, to give them an option. I mean, I never even thought of it, actually. So I think having a small and then recycle is a great idea. As long as you don't have to count occupants and all that, and you don't want any extra
No.
work, then
No, we don't have.
just giving another option on this page. Yes.
Yeah.
And
So-
what about, I'm sorry to interrupt,
No, that's okay.
but what about a line stating what we have to meet? I mean, this says what we're gonna get to.
Absolutely.
So maybe a line that says we have to meet this, and this is how we're gonna meet it.
That's what the difference is.
Oh, this one.
Difference column.
Oh, that's what you said in the
That's,
beginning, 160.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep,
I
so
get
this
it.
is 162, and the indirect cost, I can,
159.
right, it's 159,516. So we have a form that we got from Ed, and I can send this out to you. It's a fluid form, but let me just at least, so on this side, are all the departments that have a percentage of what the budget is. On this side is the revenue. So anything that we get in from trash fees, so like when we send out all the bills, this is the amount of money that we're bringing in. Yard waste actually falls under us as well. So the yard waste, so when you go to DPW and you bring in your yard waste, they charge for stickers. So that gets counted in this revenue. The overflow bag fees, so we are generating money every time somebody buys bags. That's also like part 2 of this. The cost of the blue bags, I want to look at possibly what the fee is for that, and then seeing how that compares to like other cities and towns that have those fees, and then look at possibly increasing those. The yard waste contribution, and then like if we get any other, the Auburn Water District in the past has given us a donation like towards hazardous waste day. So as part of this, certainly you can look at it, make
So
a
it's
copy
like
if you want.
super close.
Right, and so that is, that comes from Ed's office, and he literally takes into consideration all the departments that touch solid waste, and then also, like retirement, like a portion of everybody who touches the program's retirement. There's a whole bunch of things in there. I'm not an accountant, but he can explain it. He can answer questions regarding that. So that's kind of what we're working off of, and trying to get to a place where we can make it so that it's whole, so that the money that we're bringing in for the cost of the program covers what the actual cost of operating the program.
It's just a good, after absorbing all this, it's just a good way because we're the voice of the residents, right?
Sure, yep.
So they're gonna be, they're gonna pay more no matter what, we just did it. So we wanna say, be able to advertise that it's not much more than, it's
So
like,
the one
so
town-
close to making it the minimal amount possible for the residents.
Right, the one town, not, believe it or not, a lot of towns around here are not on a municipal waste system, but the one town that we can compare ourselves to is Holden. They actually do have Casella. They're $8 for their bags, for a roll of 5. Currently, I don't know if they're going through a rate change either. They're doing
Contract negotiation.
they typically would be the same because they haven't changed since we changed. We are right in line with them. So they only offer 2 options: small trash, small recycle for $181 a year, like our small. Large trash, large recycle. You cannot mix them. If you get a small trash, you're getting a small recycle. You don't get small and large. So it's small or large, however many units you have. So if you're a single, you pick one of them, just like we have for our small and large single family. If you're a multi, you pick 2. If you're a 3-family, you pick 3. If you're a 4-family, you pick 4. That's just how it is. So their price sheet only has $181 and $237. Them are your choices. And then $8 for the overflow bags. You repair your own carts. They have parts there at the department or at the highway department, and you can come pick them up. If you have a wheel or a lid and you put it on yourself, they did say if someone's elderly, they'll help them. But they use the same hauler that we have. currently. So we feel great that they go out to everyone's house and do all the repairs on the car, replace if necessary, if it's broken. They work really well with Colleen on that. So as we're going through this, I have West Boylston, may or may not still be on something. I have Chelmsford. Now I'm finding that the cities that we can compare to are included in their part of taxes, so you don't always get their taxes just go up to operate the program. So it's not a cut like we have the residents pay, because you can opt in for this or get your own if you choose to. I haven't found any private hauler that can meet these rates, that offer the recycle, single stream recycle and the trash. So I think that we have better options for our residents, allowing them to get a large recycle, whether they have a small or a large tote, and just the lower rate that they did pay for their multis, because when I talked to the town manager in Holden, she said that's the only thing we're offering, that's what they get.
And they pay, so it's that price, and if they have a 3-family, they pay that price.
That price times 3.
Yeah.
So if they
That price
choose
times 4.
times 4, if it's a
Yeah.
4-family,
Yeah,
yep,
okay.
full. Because I said, so I asked her for the scale of prices. I said, so at first I thought she was telling me she didn't do multis. But she said, no, we don't do discounts. She said, if you have a 4-family and you want however many totes you tell me you want, that's how many you're going to pay for. So, I think that they're close enough to us to be a great comparison. That
And similar
similar programs, similar money. Now, if we agree on a price increase, they are still where we currently are right now, within like $3 where we are right now, but they are in negotiation. So I don't know where that will.
So the 160, that's the forecast for this year, correct? The deficit that,
Well, this is 2021 right here.
Right.
159.
So it would be for, yeah.
Oh, so
that's forward-looking based off of the first half. So is there anything for 2022? Is it potentially, if we stay with this number, more than 160, 190? Because obviously things are changing.
Right. So great
Yeah.
point. That was brought up. We did discuss that, and Ed wanted to be considerate of, when we're looking at increases of possible fees, of not having to do this like,
Right.
constantly. Is there a way that we can do it so, you're looking at 2 to 3 years before you have to, revisit this. Nobody has a crystal ball. Right now, I can tell you solid waste and recycling has a lot of changes. And, kind of a lot of dynamic, kind of having to keep your eye on the ball for it, from where we've come from. But I think that looking at that and bringing that up is a good point. So right now, that's looking at it with the current budget.
Right.
But taking into consideration possibly the next year or 2 might change that number.
Right.
That's something that we can come back with that, and maybe that's something we can work with Ed on.
Yeah.
In the accounting department to see if we were to try to estimate what it is for FY, right now we're in FY '22, or FY '23.
Right, match the trending for the last 5 or 7 years.
Yeah, because our recycle is definitely an estimate. So we have a contract, and so we know what our fees for the hauling and the pickup part of it will be. We can estimate a year of tonnage, and I don't know the date that contract ends for what we're paying for the ton. Per
We have
ton.
2 more years.
2 more years. So we do have fixed cost, but that recycle is still
Right.
it's a black hole out there.
Right.
And I don't know where it's gonna go. I mean, my hope would be that COVID ends and the consumption comes down for all the trash that people now have in their homes rather than out in the world. But, I don't know.
I think my only other comment is you guys have done so much work on this, and I've been on this board a while, and I don't disagree with anything. I think that we have to raise it. I mean, I think we have to, and the way that you're handling it is amazing. You were able to find, you know, your on-site, Colleen, and then your homework with this, so I just think that we have to kind of, you've done a lot of homework prior to this. It's not like we're just coming up with a fee, so, and I do like Mike's idea of the percentage, so it's kind of all, there's no question, you know, like, but, so I guess we take that all into consideration moving forward. And maybe 3 options, like this set, I know these aren't the numbers that you're
Right,
showing us, just examples, but maybe 3 different increases. And then
Yeah, yeah,
it's like,
I
you
have.
know, we can just take 2 and say definitely no. We
Well, I'll do
this
the
one.
percentage option. I'll do the flat, bring all the multis up to where they need to be. I will add the small in for everyone, and then based on what we pick, we'll determine where the single-family small and the single-family large need to be. Because the decisions that we make on adding a small can be, you know, an average of $8,000 to $15,000 if they all went. And then the difference of not bringing the two, or maybe just the 3 and the 4 up, that's where you're gonna get what your single-family large and your single-family small need to be. So it's based on where we end up with the whole part. So I'll add in that small and assume a 50%. I'll assume 120 people are gonna switch to small. And if they don't, then great. There's some of our buffer for the recycle, but, and then I'll assume one with a percentage, one with keeping them flush, and I'll fill in for the small. In the single family and the small, noting that we did keep the small, tried to keep it a little bit lower, just because of the nature of, we want less tonnage. We want more recycling, and we want less trash. So going in that direction, small is definitely what we would want everyone to be on. But for our elderly population, and we have a lot of it, it's just on their fixed income and the size they need it, it's a better benefit for them.
So for the next meeting, we can come up with more options. Adding in what Eileen is going to add for a small 2-family option, and give you kind of like a blend of what you're talking about. So we can work on that. And then also I'd like to bring in some possible, like the overflow bag fees and show you what they are. I can tell you from COVID, our revenue on the blue bags, way more than it has been. So that means, yes, we're making more money on the blue bags, but that also means more tonnage at the wheel. So we want to make sure that if people are using a blue bag, that it's helping towards covering the cost. Because remember, that's above and beyond whatever is in either the 35-gallon or the 64-gallon trash cart. So we can bring you that information, and we can, you know, give you a proposed increase on those as well. And we'll show like what comparison is. So we can at least give you that information to be able to see if we can come up with something that you feel comfortable with, and keeping in mind kind of what our discussion is. And, you know, we'll make the multifamilies even of how say Holden is doing it, And then we can also show like a discount of kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can do that up. And then one thing I also, because we will talk probably at a future meeting about this, if we decide, or if you decide that you want us to add that multi going to a small, then we definitely want the rules and regulations to have something in it that if there is abuse of that, Colleen's out in the road, she absolutely knows all the spots. And there are gonna be some people that need large, but are gonna say, I want small, and they're gonna be continually in violation. And so we've noticed now, sometimes our regulations, we're trying to make this program great for the residents, but our regulations need to lend itself to, if that isn't working, that they would be required to go back to large or to leave the program. The blue bags are meant for extra trash. If you have Christmas or a birthday party, it's not meant for someone to try to get a small fee and then continually put out blue bags and stuff them so that they can't even pick them up. Could be, and then obviously they need large trash at that point.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we wouldn't see any 3 and 4 families drop off when you're talking 6, 8, almost $1,100, to go to a 5-yard pickup that they're going to go direct. So I don't know how that affects the town directly, if them not getting any service or if losing the revenue is a detriment. I'm not sure which way that actually goes.
It depends on the tonnage that they're putting out. So it's still a balance of, if we're only going to get $500 for 4 trash toters and they're generating, if they may not be the best recyclers, they sometimes don't even know the rules because it's an owner that has to sign up, and the toters are continually overflowed, they're continually in violation, there's banned items in there that we may not know about if we're not opening. It's the multis, I would say, are the biggest offenders. So if that $500, $600 that they may be paying, what are the 3 families right now, Colleen?
For the whole year is
528. If they're, so that 528 in a single large toter is 241. So 482 would be 2, and they're getting an extra one for free. They're full. All of them are full, so it also lends to our tonnage on the other side. So it's kind of a whole picture that you got to say, where is our tonnage and how much has it increased, and then has our revenue increased?
Right.
So we do have a lot of blue bags. We have to give Colleen credit. Anyone who's over or in violation, she's out there. You need to use blue bags. Here's where you buy them. This is what you do, and it's working. And we're great because that was all lost revenue. But we have the driver call us saying some of these toters are so jam-packed, they don't empty because they're stuffed. People do a good job of probably staging on it. And so we do most of our, a lot of our, not most of them, but a lot of our multis are our offenders. So, I think in an instance of the right here, they get 1 free trash toter to have a 3 family. So a 2 family's not, then with the kind of comments we're getting last time, well, wait a minute. I could have 2 toters, and because we have people in single families that want 2 large toters. We explained to them that I have 7 people living here, especially during COVID. A lot of families did group together. Just for financial reasons. And I've gone out to visit the sites with Colleen, and they literally have 7 people living there, but they cannot get an extra toter. So they look at the sheet, they get the comments and saying, I have 7 people, but the 2 family might only have 4, and I can't pay for an extra one. So,
and some of the people like that, they have at least 5 blue bags a week. So that's.
But we got them to at least get blue bags.
Yeah.
Prior to that, it was every week a violation, and through work and education and teaching them you can have an extra recycle cart, and here's some things you can recycle. Colleen's literally helped people go through their trash and say, this could be in this bucket, this could be in this bucket. We, get calls and compliments like, I know what I'm doing now. I think I can do it right. So it's all about education, but it's such a fine balance. If I thought I could calculate every bit that tonnage was offsetting it,
Right.
I would. I just know I can't. It's
Right.
such a fine balance of, what you can do. I think that's like a astronomical price. I don't know. That's a year though. I don't know what it would cost to have a dumpster in your yard for a year. I don't know what dumpster costs monthly, but I'm pretty sure that a dumpster is going to be a hefty monthly fee.
Yeah.
To have for 12 months in a row, if someone were to do that. A private trash hauler may be okay with them because they're coming to one residence. I don't know, where they would be for 3 or 4. We certainly, if you think that would be an added value, I have no problem calling the local big trash haulers, and I'm not going to call the small ones. I think it's unfair to waste their time if they're, a small business, but the ones that have their own offices, I can call Casella or Public Waste Management and find out, as a private citizen, I have a 3-family or 4-family, what would your rates be? I did do that before the last rate increase. It's a great exercise to do anyways, to compare, so that we can have talking points when we do increase and wherever we end up.
Yeah.
So I'll add that to the list as well.
I also think if we're gonna offer smalls for the multis, that they shouldn't be able to go like half and half, like, oh, I want 2 large and 1
Yeah,
small.
no.
Because that, for billing, that would be
Yeah.
too
Yeah, they've got to go
It would either be
all or one.
all small or all large.
And I think, I do recognize the 2-family as being,
Yeah, we're not
something,
doing it for 3.
but
Oh, okay, good.
I'm not thinking we would be doing it for 3 and 4-family. That would be honestly too many things.
Too many variables.
Yeah, too many variables. And what it is now, so Colleen has to do a lot at the curb, when she's going out on a route. She's going out on a route anywhere from 6 to 800 plus people a day. So depending on the route size. So she has to be able to assess it, see how many toters, do they have the right size toters? Wait a minute, how come they have more toters? We've had stolen toters, we've had people that take the toters and move them. There's a lot of moving pieces. So, there's a lot to put on her, where we have a good handle on operation, but also any changes that we make, we want to make sure we can sustain those as well. Paperwork wise, and then also being able to recognize, when you're pulling up to a property and trying to figure out what they have for trash, does that match what they've signed up? You know what I mean? What's out in the field? So we're constantly, because those carts that people use for trash and recycling, we own those as part of the contract. So that's property of the town. So we also have to be mindful that there's a value of that, So I think what I'm hearing is you're okay if we take this for some more choices, add in a possible cost increase, and then also right now we're at about 159,000 based on the indirects, but see if we can look with Ed on a forecast of possibly out 2 to 3 years to see what that number would be, and then come up with some options for that. So we can stick with this number, and then we can also look at like a more of a forecast outward. And then also bring you some comparables. Does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds
Like,
good. I just have
good
one more
plan?
comment
Yeah.
for, that's it we always talk about the multifamilies and the views and all that, but I feel like there are a lot of Lisa and Mikes out there that really do a good job at it.
Yes.
So it'd be nice if like, if someone's composting, like you could give them a coupon to like the farmer's market or something. Or just give an incentive for those, there's only a few, I'm sure there's not a lot, but they're like, you know, Virginia, the three of us are like, that's why we're here, because we love it. But like, it would be nice to have incentive for the people that are, you know, maybe, I don't know, have less weight in their trash, and I know that's hard to monitor, and this might be a 10-year goal, but it'd be nice to maybe put that in the minutes for the future, like, it can't be in this change, but it'd be,
So, I totally agree, but I have to say, you know, I read other towns' Facebook, and in my mind, I'm thinking, how would we weigh that? Well, did you guys see what Worcester said that your bags, they do pay as you go, and your bags can't weigh more than 30 pounds? And so the big thing on Facebook, because every town has their Facebook, was, what, do you want us to go out in our pajamas with a weight thing like we have for the airport, and you're gonna start weighing our bags? But it just stuck with me when the comments were hilarious. You know, the trolls that are out there trying to get everyone going. But when you just said that, the first thing I thought was, yeah, now we're gonna have the trucks are gonna come with like a thing and pick it up, and it'll register on a scale, and
well, I
it
don't
would
know.
be hard to weigh.
And we've educated through the years, you know, that's why things go up, because of the weight of the trash, and people don't realize, like, composting is important. You're pulling that right out of that. You just don't have that.
Absolutely.
So I think you bring up a good point. I like the idea. I mean, we do get actually excited when Colleen can, you know, we do celebrate certain things in the office that are like,
No one else would probably celebrate.
yeah, Colleen will come back and, you know, I'll be like, okay, so how we doing with, you know, whatever, XYZ, you know, property, and she's like, they had the right bags out today. I'm like, yay, you know. So I mean, we do celebrate things internally, but I do like the idea of, you know, maybe doing something that is happy. And I have to tell you, Colleen I ask her all the time, hey, can you come up with an educational piece that we can send out that will kind of lighten people up, you know? And she has just a great way about her. She knows how to find things that can connect to people, and good education, and hopefully you're seeing
I
that.
have seen it.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to do like really nice things around less plastic is fantastic, and you know what I mean? Like, we're trying to do things that we all enjoy, and something that we find, you know, is helpful as being government. I know not everybody, you know, not everybody is a big fan of government sometimes, but we're trying to do it in a way to try to educate people and give them a means to do the right thing, you know, and follow the rules. How can we get people to do things that are going to fit with us not having to do a violation or something like that? That's not how we want to operate the system. But the education part of it, Colleen is really effective at, and I can tell you, we've just done another order of the compost bins. The compost bins they're selling really well, so that's a good thing. You know, we discounted them. We also have the rain barrels that people have taken interest in. So I think doing more of that sort of educational piece. I don't think we're at, we're not at it yet, at least for this contract, but that might be something we look at in a future contract, or as an option for people that want to compost. There are some towns that offer that, or make it mandatory for people to compost, and they'll actually put out compost at the curb. So they get it picked up at the curb, which is pretty big.
So growing up, and I'm probably the oldest one in this room, growing up, we had garbage picked up every Tuesday, but I didn't find out till not too long ago that it wasn't a trash company that did it, it was the pig farm. And you put out your bag of scraps, but they hired a trash hauler that came and picked it up every Tuesday in the whole town. And I would always remember we had to save everything at the sink, and we bagged it all, and it went out on Tuesdays. And you burnt the rest of your trash. Ironically, they had us burning trash in our backyard. So I think that was like an oxymoron right there, like bury everything else in your yard.
I mean, that
But yeah.
I've seen it. So, I mean, I do like the idea of maybe trying to come up with some sort of recognition for people that, that do things well. So, definitely open to that, and it's something that we actually really enjoy. One of the other happy things that actually I didn't think to put it on the agenda, but because you sparked something happy. So we recently went to this kind of folds into the plastic bag, just a little piece of information for you. So in our effort to try to get the word out about the plastic bag implementation, we went to a Chamber of Commerce meeting recently. So they meet, I think they meet monthly or every couple of months. And we were able to get, they were nice enough to let us come. And Jordan, Eileen, Colleen, and myself were able to go talk about the bylaw, it going into effect in October, and kind of, it was put on hold for a while because of COVID, and trying to be mindful of that for businesses. But that was a really good experience as well. We have a really good working relationship, and they actually would like to partner with us for Hazardous Waste Day. That we've had a lot of help from other community businesses, but this would be nice to actually have them to help with Hazardous Waste Day. We do the townwide cleanup. I know you come and Virginia has helped with that as well. So we're trying to get something like that instead of every other year of doing a townwide cleanup every year. So that's the first really good thing. And then they would like to, see if they might be able to help volunteer or do some sort of part with us for Hazardous Waste Day. So that's kind of something that has developed over the past couple of years with us having those connections. So, just to kind of let you know about that piece. So just to wrap up, you have the tonnage report that I gave you, and we do have, we're halfway through the regular calendar year, and what I think we're heading into now is because we're actually going into the fall. Schools just went back into session. As you know, we didn't have schools last year, so it'll be we'll have to take into consideration the tonnage that we're going to have from municipal buildings and schools. That's probably going to go up because those lower numbers take into account when school was not in session. So that's just an observation that I wanted to just let you know. And then we can compare that with the previous year. Definitely COVID is different. COVID's made it. Do you have any questions for anything that we've covered tonight? Any I think we have a good kind of plan to kind of move forward.
What's the timeline? Like, when's the deadline that we have to approve?
Great answer. Great question. So the answer, I think what we need to do is we need to probably meet again in, I know it's hard to coordinate, but I think we definitely need to meet at least in the next couple of weeks to be able to at least get the proposed fee increase discussion kind of under control. So I would say that I think October. So our billing is going to be at the end of, what do we pay the bills in December?
Yes, I will probably do it around like the first, second week of December.
So we have to be square by November of putting all the Munis, everything together for Munis. So that kind of, we're backed up in letting people know that there would be a fee change. I think we need
When did
to
you say?
actually
Like the second
be
week of
square,
December?
probably sometime in October. I wouldn't say any later than the end of October.
They don't meet it till the
Um,
31st,
No,
but
but we don't want it.
But
So it's
I think
gotta
that
be
gives
this
us
week.
a chance at least to, you know,
Definitely one
meet
step
again,
away from that.
talk about the fees, make sure everybody is comfortable with what
So
information,
earlier
and then
we
if
do
you
it,
need any
the
more
more
information from us, being able to
property
maybe get
transfers will be
another
between.
meeting,
So
so
the later.
a
So this
couple of
week will
weeks
probably
we
be
could
good.
meet.
I'm good the first full week, the 4th through the 7th, something like that.
Okay, you know what, I forgot my phone, so,
Do you want to look at a calendar?
yeah, can you just bring up the calendar?
Yes. So this is,
So for, right now, we're at the 13th, so, you're saying the first week in October, Mike?
Even if you wanted to do 2 weeks, the last week of this month,
Okay,
Thursdays are probably better, or Monday.
okay. So if that
Monday the
is,
4th?
The 4th would work, or the 27th, or the 30th or 7th, those would be my preferences.
okay. So, September 30th or October 4th, I don't think we don't, the Board of Health meeting is scheduled for the 21st, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we could look at, I just don't want to, I don't want to, I want to have enough time in October. What do you think? I
Cool.
think,
Monday's good.
I can do the Monday the 27th.
Yeah. I want to make sure we give you guys enough time to put all the
Yeah.
new spreadsheets
I know
together.
that.
That's 2 weeks from today, the 27th, so
That's fine.
Is that enough time for you?
she puts these things on.
I know.
Yeah.
I need like 4 months.
yeah, the only thing is I know I'm going to be gone
When,
the 23rd through the 24th.
okay, let's do the 4th.
Huh?
Want to do the 4th?
I'm okay with, the only, how about Thursday? Thursday the 30th? No, yeah.
I'm trying to stay on a late night.
I mean, we can do the 4th, we just, we'd have to be able to pull together another meeting that month if we didn't come to a decision that night.
I think we could come to a decision.
Well, I'm very
There's
decisive,
three.
yeah.
This will be.
Oh, okay. You go, Mike. All right, so why don't we
Very
plan,
decisive. I was thoroughly thought.
why don't we pick the 4th then? If Monday
Monday works. for me.
works, okay? Okay.
I think I
Same
just
thing,
have to-
6:30
I
or
think I have to, hold on, I think I have to do 6:45.
6:45?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah,
even
6:45.
I know you guys work here, so 6:45. 45?
Yep.
Can you make it 6:45? Yeah, okay. Okay, so 6:45 on October 4th. We'll plan on doing it, here again. It's either here or this room. We always have a hard time booking rooms, so, I'll check and see. And what we'll do is we'll have those options for you. So we'll set these up with some options, and then I'll also have, we're gonna speak with Ed about long-term forecast. So this number that we're at, the 159, may go up a bit to cover like possible 2 to 3 year. Okay, so we'll look at that. And that will kind of be, that'll be kind of our working meeting. We'll just kind of focus on that. I didn't really bring anything else here, but we'll just come in and work just specifically on that. How's that sound?
Works.
Okay, beautiful.
Also adjourn the meeting. I adjourned the meeting at 8:06 PM.
Second?
Okay, beautiful.
Okay.
So Mike, I think Mike would like to make the motion.
What do I,
He did?
I
To
second.
adjourn it.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay,
okay.
adjourn it.
Wonderful.
I should really study up on
I know, I don't know
Stay here,
that
'cause
either.
2 years and I'm just like, ah.
All right, excellent.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to take this off.